The first time my neighbor introduced me as her boyfriend, my mouth was full of mashed potatoes, and her father was staring at me as if he were deciding whether I deserved a handshake or a full background investigation. To be fair, I had been warned that dinner might be a little tense. What I had not been warned about was that I was about to be promoted from the guy who splits the Wi-Fi bill to potential future son-in-law. My name is Owen Miller. I was 29 then, working as a junior architect at a firm in Portland and living in a two-bedroom apartment above a bakery, which meant the whole place smelled like cinnamon every morning. My life was decent enough, if you counted reliable coffee, clean laundry, and a love life so quiet that my mother had started using the phrase, "when you're ready," as if I were recovering from a shipwreck. My neighbor, Claire Bennett, was 28, a nurse, and the kind of person whose laugh could make a bad day take one respectful step backward. She owned entirely too many houseplants, labeled leftovers like prison evidence, and sang badly in the kitchen whenever she thought I had headphones on. He never told her that sometimes I took one earbud out just to listen. That was the problem with Claire. Leaving with her was easy in all the dangerous ways. She remembered exactly how I took my coffee. She knocked twice before entering a room. Once, she stayed up with me until 2 in the morning helping me finish a presentation model, her hair tied in a messy knot, glue on her thumb, wearing my old university sweatshirt because, as she put it, yours are softer, and I'm emotionally vulnerable to cotton. Was I attracted to her? Of course. He was neither blind nor dead. But we had rules. Do not date your roommate. Do not make the rent situation weird. Do not stare too long when she shuffled into the kitchen in fuzzy socks and said, "Don't perceive me before caffeine." So when she leaned against my doorframe on a Thursday afternoon and said, "I need a favor," I should have faked a sudden medical emergency. Instead, I looked up from my laptop and said, "If this involves moving a couch, I recently became spiritually opposed to furniture. Eats dinner with my parents." He went silent. That sounds worse. She smiled, but the smile did not quite reach her eyes. Claire had the kind of face people trusted immediately, which made it easy to miss the tiny signs that she was bracing herself for something. The way her fingers found the silver ring on her thumb. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear twice when once would have been enough. "My sister is coming into town," she said. "My parents are having a family dinner. He told them I might bring someone." "You might bring someone." "Yes." "And am someone?" "You are very much someone. That may be the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me." She rolled her eyes, but there it was, her real smile, quick and bright. It landed somewhere beneath my ribs. He should have asked more questions. A mature man would have asked more questions. Instead, I chose to be the kind of man who liked making Claire smile. "Why?" he asked. Her gaze flicked away for half a second. "Because you're normal." That is demonstrably false. "And because you're kind," she corrected, softer this time. "And because when my mother corners you with questions about life plans, you won't panic and announce you're joining a monastery." "I promise nothing." She looked, then stepped into my room without asking. That was how I knew something was truly wrong. Claire respected personal space like it was a constitutional amendment. She sat on the edge of my bed, close enough for me to catch the clean scent of her shampoo, something citrusy and warm. "My ex will be there." "Ryan?" he asked. She nodded. He only knew the general outline. Collège boyfriend. Her family adored him. He had the smile of a campaign poster and the emotional depth of a spoon. Claire never spoke badly about him, which told me more than if she had. "He is friends with my brother-in-law," she said. "Apparently, he's in town, and my mother thinks it would be nice for everyone to catch up." "Nice," I repeated. "She also thinks I need to stop being so picky." He closed my laptop. Claire noticed. Her eyes softened before she looked down. "I'm not asking you to lie," she said. "Not exactly. Just come with me. Sit next to me. Make it less awful." There were 100 practical reasons to say no. Our apartment. Our friendship. The neat little wall I had built between what I wanted and what I allowed myself to want. But Claire sat on my bed, twisting that ring, and Ali could think was that if her family had spent years making her feel difficult to love, I wanted to be the person beside her proving otherwise. Okay, I said. Her head lifted. Okay. Yes. But if your mother asks about my 5-year plan, I'm telling her I intend to become mysterious. Her shoulders dropped with relief. Then she reached out and squeezed my hand. It was not dramatic. Just her fingers around mine, 2 seconds longer than necessary. Long enough for both of us to notice. She let go first. Thank you, she said, and there was no joke left in her voice. That Saturday, she came out of her bedroom wearing a green dress I had never seen before. I was standing in the kitchen, trying to tie my necktie in a way that did not suggest I had lost a fight with it. When I looked up, whatever joke I had prepared disappeared. The dress was simple, knee-length, soft fabric, nothing flashy. But on Claire, it made the entire apartment look underdressed. She stopped when she saw me staring. What? Nothing. That was not a nothing face. That was your architect face. You were assessing structural integrity. She narrowed her eyes. The dress, I said. Among other things. The words escaped before I could stop them. For one small second, Claire did not move. Then color rose in her cheeks, and she walked toward me as if she had decided not to let me escape my own sentence. Your tie is crooked, she said. I was aiming for approachable. You were aiming for strangled. She stepped close and took my tie in both hands. There are moments in life when the body is more honest than the mouth. Mine went completely still. Claire's fingers brushed my collar. Her knuckles grazed my throat as she loosened the knot and fixed it with careful concentration. You look good, she said quietly, not looking me in the eye. So do you. I always look good. That is true, I said. That made her lift her eyes. The apartment was quiet except for the traffic outside and the bakery downstairs closing for the day. We stood close enough for me to see tiny gold flecks in her brown eyes. Close enough that if either of us leaned in, rent would become the least of our problems. Then her phone buzzed on the counter. She stepped back too quickly. My mom, she said, looking at the screen. The smile vanished. She says Ryan is already there. He wanted to say something clever. He found nothing. Claire inhaled, straightened her shoulders, and slipped her phone into her purse. Ready? No, I said. But I'm going anyway. Her hand found mine at the door. This time, she did not let go after 2 seconds. Her parents' house glowed gold in the early evening. It was the kind of house that looked as if people said grace before judging your career choices. Big Porsche. Perfect. 2 cars in the driveway that cost more than my student loans and seemed to have better posture. Claire stopped on the walkway. You don't have to do this, she said. I already put on a tie. That is your reason? No, you are. Her eyes searched my face, and for one moment, her nerves opened into something warmer, something that made me wonder if maybe I was not the only one pretending the apartment rules were enough. Then the front door opened. A woman with Claire's eyes and a sharper smile called, "There she is." Inside, the house smelled like roasted chicken and expensive candles. Her mother hugged her first, then looked me over with cheerful precision. "This must be Owen," she said. "Yes," Claire said. "Mum, this is him." Her father shook my hand. "Mark Bennett. Owen Miller. Nice to meet you, sir." Ryan stood by the fireplace in a navy sweater, holding a glass of red wine as if he had been born in a commercial. He smiled at Claire with too much familiarity. "Claire," he said. "You look beautiful." A hand tightened around mine. He felt it before I understood why. Every face in the room turned toward our joined hands. Her mother blinked. Ryan's smile shifted. Claire, my plant hoarding, leftover labeling, off-key singing roommate, lifted her chin as if stepping off a cliff. This is my boyfriend, she said. There are phrases that rearrange a room. Fire. I'm pregnant. This is my boyfriend. Claire's version landed like silverware dropped on marble. Her mother's smile froze, then thawed into something delighted and dangerous. Boyfriend? Ryan took a sip of wine. Claire's father looked at our hands, then at me, as if my handshake had forgotten to mention a major plot twist. He could have corrected her. In fact, every reasonable part of my brain assembled the words, actually, we're roommates, and I'm here as emotional furniture. But Claire's thumb moved once over the back of my hand. Not begging. Not pleading. So I smiled at her mother and said, it's nice to finally meet you. Claire's fingers tightened again, but this time it felt less like panic and more like gratitude she did not dare say out loud. Well, her mother said, recovering at Olympic speed. What a surprise. I hope a pleasant one, I said. Claire gave me a look that clearly said, you are enjoying this too much. My answering look said, you started this, girlfriend. Our father cleared his throat. How long has this been going on? Claire opened her mouth. He beat her to it. Long enough for me to know she steals the blanket during movies and pretends she doesn't. Claire turned pink. That was the first lie I told that evening. Technically, we had watched movies together. Technically, she did steal the blanket. Technically, I had spent 2 hours pretending not to notice her shoulder pressed against mine. The boyfriend part was still under review. Her mother pressed a hand to her chest. You watch movies together. We live together, Mum, Claire said. The room went silent again. Ryan coughed into his glass. He looked at Claire. We were going to ease them into that. Her lips twitched. Right. He had a whole plan involving dinner rolls and distraction tactics. And there it was. Her laugh. Qui, soudain, réel. It loosened something in my chest. Dîner began with the intensity of a court hearing. Claire's sister, Megan, was openly fascinated. Her husband asked me about sports, which I survived by naming 3 teams and hoping none were fictional. Mrs. Bennet asked questions in a tone so sweet it should have come with a dental warning. So, Owen, she said, passing carrots, what do you do? I'm un architecte. An architect, she repeated, approving despite herself. How interesting. Mostly, I draw bathrooms that other people make cheaper. Claire snorted into her water. Ryan smiled. The firm downtown? Yes. Claire mentioned you once. He should not have been pleased by that. He was pleased enough to embarrass myself. She mentionne me? Don't look so proud, Claire said. It was about the time you set off the smoke alarm making toast. Artisanal smoke. Owen, it was black bread. Charcoal bread. Her father's mouth twitched. He counted it as a victory. For a while, it worked. We became a team the way people do when lying under pressure. Improvising. Catching each other's signals. Building a relationship out of crumbs of old habits. Claire knew how I took my coffee. He knew she hated mushrooms but ate them when served because she had been raised in fear of disappointing tableware. She touched her knee to mine under the table, and every time, my whole body remembered she was not actually mine. Then Ryan leaned back in his chair. So how did it happen? He asked. Claire froze. How did what happen? Megan asked, delighted, her eyes locked on Claire. The romance. Roommate to lovers sounds like a movie. He felt Claire pull away without moving. Her smile remained, but something behind it became careful. He hated him a little for knowing exactly where to press. He set my fork down slowly. Everyone looked at me. He turned to Claire because if I was going to lie, I wanted at least part of it to be true. It happened slowly, I said. At first, I noticed little things. How she talks to her plants like they're difficult co-workers. How she pretends she doesn't like the corner piece of a brownie even though she always reaches for it. How when she comes home after a hard shift, she checks on everyone else before she checks on herself. Claire's eyes widened. My pulse did something ridiculous. And then one day, I continued, softer now, I realized the best part of my day was hearing her key in the door. The table fell quiet. Claire stared at me as if I had taken a lie and turned it into something she did not know how to hold. Maybe I had. Ryan's smile disappeared. Mrs. Bennet dabbed at the corner of her eye. That is very sweet. That's not exactly how it happened, Claire said. My heart dropped. Then she reached for my hand and laced our fingers together on top of the table, in full view of everyone. Yes, leaving out the part where I fell first. My heart officially stopped behaving. She was looking at me, not them. Because it's ridiculous and kind. Because he buys good coffee even when he says he can't tell the difference. Because he listens when people talk. Realisten. Because with him, I don't have to pretend I'm okay. The lie had disappeared from her voice. Or maybe I had lost the ability to tell the difference. Under the table, my knee brushed hers. This time, neither of us moved away. After dinner, I escaped to the kitchen with a stack of plates and a desperate need to breathe. Claire followed me the second the swinging door closed behind her. I'm so sorry, she whispered. He set the plates beside the sink. For making me your boyfriend without the proper application process. I panicked. I noticed. I saw Ryan, and Mom was doing that face, and everyone was waiting for me to feel ashamed that I was alone. Then your hand was right there, and I just... She pressed her fingers to her forehead. I'm sorry. He turned to face her. The kitchen was warm, smelling of garlic and lemon. From the dining room came muffled voices and Megan's too loud laughter at something. Claire looked smaller here, away from the performance. Not weak. Never weak. Just tired from being evaluated. I'm not mad. You should be. I'm a little curious about our anniversary. Despite everything, she smiled. June. Too vague. We deserve a holiday. He stepped closer. Not enough to trap her, just enough that she had to tilt her chin up. Claire, look at me. She did. My voice came out lower than I expected. I said those things because I meant them. Her smile faded. I know tonight is pretend, I said. I know why you said it. But what I said about you was not pretend. For a moment, she stopped breathing. Then she whispered, mine wasn't either. The kitchen seemed to close around us. Her fingers were still pressed to her temple. Slowly, I reached up and touched her wrist, giving her time to pull away. She did not. He lowered her hand between us, and she let me hold it. There was no audience now. No Ryan. No mother with shining eyes. Just Claire and me beside the sink, holding hands. It felt like both a secret and an answer. Your family thinks we are dating, I said. Yes. Your ex thinks we are dating. Unfortunately. He brushed my thumb over her knuckles. What do you think? Her gaze slipped to my mouth. It was fast. Barely there. It destroyed me. I think, she said quietly, that if we talk about this here, I might do something unwise. Define unwise. The kitchen door swung open. Megan stood there with an empty glass and the expression of a woman who had just walked into the first chapter of a scandalous romance. Oh, she said. Sorry. He just came for wine. I see you two are busy emotionally undressing each other. Claire yanked her hand out of mine. Megan. What? I support this. Megan opened a drawer, found nothing, then pointed her glass at me. For the record, Owen, I like you more than Ryan. He gives off yacht shoe energy. I appreciate the endorsement, I said. Claire covered her face with both hands. Megan disappeared again, calling, Mom wants dessert in 5 minutes. The door swung shut. Claire and I stared at each other. Then we both started laughing. Note polite dinner laughter. Note nervous laughter. Real laughter that bent us toward each other until her shoulder pressed against my chest and my hand landed on her waist without thinking. She looked up. The laughter faded. My palm rested at the curve of her waist. Her hand lightly touched my tie, the same one she had fixed earlier. We should go back, she said. We should. Neither of us moved. Then Ryan's voice carried clearly from the dining room. Does he know about Boston? Claire went completely still beneath my hand. He did not ask what Boston meant. Note then. Because her face had gone pale, and whatever waited in that room had already stolen enough from the moment between us. He leaned closer, my mouth near her ear, and said, We go back together. Claire swallowed, then looked at me. Note elle place. Note hiding. Choosing. Together, she said. We returned to the dining room holding hands. Note because the audience required it, but because Claire reached for me first. That detail mattered. It mattered so much that for half a second I forgot Ryan had just dropped the word Boston like a match in dry grass. Claire's mother stood beside the dessert tray, her face tight with curiosity. Megan froze. Monsieur Bennet looked irritated in the particular way fathers look irritated when they know a conversation has left the road but not who is driving. Ryan smiled at me. I was just saying Claire never mentioned whether she told you. Claire's hand tightened. He kept my voice calm. She tells me things when she wants to. It sounded better than I expected. Claire looked at me, and some of the tension left her mouth. Ryan's smile thinned. Of course. Her mother frowned. Claire, sweetheart, I thought Boston was settled. Settled? Claire said. What's in Boston? He asked, because apparently I enjoyed walking into emotional traffic. A job, Claire said before anyone else could answer. A hospital there offered me a position last year. Last year. We had been roommates last year. He remembered her walking on the balcony in December, phone pressed to her ear. He remembered her saying it was nothing important when I asked. It was a wonderful opportunity, her mother said. Specialized pediatrics, better pay. Ryan had connections there too. Mum, Claire said. Ryan lifted his hands. I didn't say anything. You rarely have to, Claire replied. He liked her so much in that moment it almost hurt. Mrs. Bennet set the cake knife down. We only wanted what was best for you. No, Claire said, quietly but clearly. You wanted what looked best. The room froze. Claire's thumb moved over my hand again, but this time she was not asking me to save her. She was grounding herself. I didn't go to Boston because I didn't want Boston, she said. I wanted my job here. My patients here. My life here. Her eyes flicked to me. My heart made one terrible, hopeful leap. I am tired, she continued, of making decisions that sound impressive to everyone except me. No one spoke. Then Megan raised her glass. Honestly? Le gendarme. Megan, her mother hissed. What? She's right. Ryan stood. I think I should go. For once, no one argued. There were awkward goodbyes. Stiff hugs between Mrs. Bennet and Ryan. A handshake between Ryan and Monsieur Bennet that looked like two men agreeing not to sue each other. Then Ryan stopped beside Claire. If you're happy, he said, I'm glad. Claire did not flinch. I am happy. Ash's gaze moved to me. He did not glare. He did not puff myself up. I simply kept holding the hand of the woman who had decided to stay. En ce mot, That felt like the most honest thing I had done all night. After Ryan left, dessert tasted mostly like silence and buttercream. We did not stay long. At the door, Mrs. Bennet hugged Claire too tightly. I just worry about you. I know, Claire said. Her mother looked at me over Claire's shoulder. Take care of her. Claire pulled away before I could answer. Mum, I take care of myself. Then, after a pause, she glanced at me. He just makes it nicer. He had no defense against that. Outside, the air was cold and smelled like rain. We made it halfway down the walkway before Claire stopped beneath the porch light. I lied to you, she said. You told them I was your boyfriend. We have already established that your relationship with accuracy is flexible tonight. She did not smile. So I stopped joking. Boston, she said. I should have told you. You didn't owe me that. I know. She wrapped her arms around herself. But I wanted to. That was the problem. The porch light gilded her hair in the dark. Her green dress looked almost black now, and her bare shoulders made me want to take off my jacket and also not be the kind of man who made a cliché out of taking off his jacket. He did it anyway. She looked at me as I draped it over her shoulders. Very boyfriend of you. I'm committing to the role. A car passed, headlights sliding over us and disappearing. Claire looked down at the sleeves covering her hands. I didn't tell you because I was afraid you'd say I should go. Maybe I would have. I know. You're annoyingly decent. I apologize for my character. If you told me I should go, I'd have to pretend it didn't hurt. My chest tightened. She looked up at me, and the vulnerability on her face was so bare I nearly looked away out of respect. I didn't want to leave our apartment, she said. I didn't want to leave morning coffee or your terrible architecture documentaries or the way you always leave me the last cinnamon roll and pretend you forgot it existed. I do forget things. You remember grout samples from 2019. Important gros. Her laugh trembled, then faded. I didn't understand what it meant, she whispered. Wanting to stay because of you. He stepped closer. And now? Her eyes searched mine. Do you? There it was. The edge we had been walking since the kitchen. Since the tie. Maybe since the night she fell asleep on the couch with her feet in my lap and I spent 20 minutes afraid to move. I know I didn't want to be your fake boyfriend tonight, I said. Her face dipped slightly. He caught her hand before she could step back. I wanted to be the real one. Claire froze. Rain began, soft at first, tapping against the porch roof behind us. Evie wanted it longer than is convenient to admit, I said. I kept telling myself it was friendship. Then respect. Then self-preservation. That earned the smallest smile. But tonight, when you said I was your boyfriend, I didn't feel trapped. He swallowed. I felt chosen. And I wanted it to be true. Her fingers closed around mine. You're not saying this because of Ryan, she asked. No. Or because my family forced us into an emotional ambush. No. Or because I look incredible in this dress. He looked her over before I could stop myself, slowly enough to make her cheeks pink. That, I said, is a supporting factor, not the main thesis. She looked, and then somehow she was closer. Her hand rested on my chest. My jacket slipped off one of her shoulders. Owen? Yes? If you don't kiss me, I may have to reconsider my opinion of your kindness. He had imagined kissing Claire in countless irresponsible details. None of those fantasies included her parents, Bosch, falling rain, or the distant possibility that Megan was watching from a window. Steve. He touched her face first, because I wanted one last chance for either of us to stop. She did not stop. She leaned into my palm, eyes half closed, and that tiny surrender broke me. Then I kissed her. At first, it was gentle. Claire made a quiet sound, surprised and relieved and wanting, then stepped into me. A hand slid up my thigh, pulling me closer. The kiss deepened, warm and certain, years of unsaid things pressing into one breathless answer. When we finally pulled apart, her forehead rested against mine. Well, she whispered. Yes. This complicates the lease. I'm willing to renegotiate terms. She smiled against my mouth. Amendment 1, more kisses. Approved. Amendment 2, you admit you never forgot the cinnamon roll. Never. She kissed me again, quick and bright, like a signature. Then the porch light flickered as the front door opened. Megan's voice rang out. I knew it. Mum, you owe me $20. Claire buried her face in my chest. He laughed so hard she had to hold on to me. For the first time all night, nothing felt fake. The drive home should have taken 20 minutes. It took 45. Not because of traffic, but because Claire kept looking at me as if I were a sentence she wanted to reread, and I kept missing turns. You just drove past our street, she said. I know. You know, and you're still driving? I'm giving us time to process. You're lost. I am architecturally studying the neighborhood. She looked, curled into the passenger seat, still wearing my jacket over her shoulders. I ran down the windows behind her, and her lipstick was slightly smudged from kissing me on her parents' Porsche. He tried very hard not to be proud of that. At a red light, she reached across the console and took my hand. Such a simple thing. Fingé threading through mine. But it turned the entire evening from unbelievable into real. Are you panicking? She asked. Internally? With great dignity. Because of us. He looked at her. A little. Her thumb brushed my knuckles. Me too. That should have frightened me more. Instead, I felt like we were standing on the same edge, looking down, laughing nervously, not quite ready to step back. When we finally got home, the apartment smelled like cinnamon from the bakery below. Familiar. Safe. Différent now. Claire stood in the entryway in her green dress and my oversized jacket while I hung the keys with exaggerated care, like a man afraid sudden movements might break the spell. So, she said. So. We kissed. We did. Twice. 3 times, if we count the one Megan interrupted. I absolutely count it. He fought for that kiss. He smiled. You questioned my courage. And you performed admirably. I'm glad my work met expectations. Her gaze dropped to my mouth. Exceeded them. The air warmed. He took one step toward her, then stopped. Claire. Yes? I want to kiss you again. Her expression softened so much the room seemed to tilt. But, I said, because apparently this was the moment I chose to become responsible, we live together. And I don't want tonight to turn into something we don't know how to handle tomorrow. She studied me. You're asking to slow down. I'm asking us not to rush just because I finally know what you taste like. Her cheeks flushed. That is an unfairly distracting argument. I'm suffering too. Claire took off my jacket and hung it over the back of a chair. Then she walked toward me, close enough that my heart began filing complaints. I don't want to rush either, she said. But I also don't want us pretending nothing happened just because we're scared. No pretending, I said. Good. She lifted her hand and straightened my already straight tie, exactly as she had before dinner. Only this time, her fingers lingered, sliding over the silk until they rested against my chest. Then here's my proposal, she said. Tomorrow, you take me on a real date. He swallowed. À date? Yes. No parents. No Ryan. No fake anniversary. Just you and me trying to behave normally about the fact that we've basically been emotionally married for 6 months. Emotionally married? You bought me a humidifier when I had bronchitis and read the instruction manual. It had settings. You gave my fern a name when I was sad. Fernanda needed identity. You once told the delivery guy I was asleep because I didn't want to answer the door. That is practically a vow. She smiled. See? He leaned in until our foreheads almost touched. Tomorrow. A real date. Her breath caught, but she did not move away. And tonight? Tonight, I say goodnight like a gentleman. How disappointing. Deeply tragic. Historically, even. She laughed softly. Then she rose on her toes and kissed my cheek. Not my mouth. My cheek. Somehow, that was worse. More intimate. Almost tender. A promise of patience. Good night, boyfriend, she whispered. He closed my eyes. You cannot just say that and leave. But that was exactly what she did, smiling over her shoulder as she disappeared into her room. The next morning, I found her in the kitchen wearing flannel pajama pants, a tank top, and the expression of a woman who had slept poorly and thought too much. Good morning, I said. She held out coffee. It was made exactly the way I liked it. Good morning, she said. We stood on opposite sides of the counter, both pretending we did not notice we were smiling like idiots. Then she said, I have concerns. He set down my mug. Okay. I don't want to become the story where we kiss, try dating, fail spectacularly, and then one of us has to move out and the other gets custody of the toaster. I would fight for the toaster. Eat browns evenly. I know. Her smile flickered, then faded. I know. He walked around the counter but stopped a few steps away, letting her decide whether to close the distance. She did. I'm scared too, I said. Not of dating you. I'm scared of doing it badly. Of losing what we already have because I want more. Her gaze softened. And I do want more, I added. That part I'm sure of. Claire's fingers found the hem of my t-shirt. I want more too. There it was again. No performance. No fake label. A choice. He touched her waist lightly. Then we go carefully. We probably need rules, she said, serious. No kissing during arguments just to win. That was on your list. Because you absolutely plan to use it. I am charming under pressure. No pretending we're fine when we're not, I said. She nodded. No sacrificing the friendship to protect the romance. Meaning? Meaning we still tell each other weird things. We still complain about dishes. We still sit on the couch in ugly socks. Your socks are ugly. My socks are whimsical. They have raccoons eating pizza on them. Whimsical. She laughed and leaned into me, wrapping her arms around my waist. He held her. It was the first quiet of the morning, and it felt better than any plan. Her cheek rested against my chest. My hand moved slowly over her back. She fit against me with such frightening ease that I had to remind myself this was new. Elle tug really, it wasn't. Not completely. That day, I took her on our first date to the Saturday market by the river. It was absurd how nervous I was. He had seen this woman half asleep, feverish, furious at a broken vacuum cleaner, and once in a sheet mask that made her look like a possessed porcelain doll. And yet when she came out wearing jeans and a soft blue sweater, I forgot how pockets worked. She noticed. Architect face, she said. Structural assessment of the sweater? Among other things. She grinned. Good callback. We walked between stalls of flowers, poterie, and tiny jars of honey. He bought her a paper cup of hot cider. She bought me a pin shaped like an unhappy cat and said it matched my default expression. At the jewelry stall, she tried on a thin silver bracelet. It looked delicate on her wrist. Beautiful, I said. She immediately put it back. Too expensive. So I waited until she was distracted by a table of used books and bought it. When I fastened it around her wrist by the river, she stared at me. Owen. First date tax. You cannot buy me jewelry on a first date. I checked. No police. Her eyes shone with something dangerously close to tears. That is too sweet. Do you dislike it? No. Then accept my illegal bracelet. She looked, but her voice was soft. Thank you. Then she kissed me there in public by the Grey River, beside a man playing the violin so badly that nearby pigeons were reconsidering their relationship with music. It was not like the porch kiss. Not urgent. Not frightened. It was a first date kiss. Chaussin. Slow. Her hand slipped under my coat. Min cupped her jaw. The world narrowed to cider on her lips and the cold tip of her nose brushing mine when she smiled. I'm having a good date, she whispered. I'm a strong candidate for a second one. I don't know. You bought jewelry. You reinvested. She rested her head on my shoulder while we looked at the water. For the first time, I let myself imagine it openly. Claire at breakfast. Claire stealing blankets. Claire, no longer almost. The woman I lived beside becoming the woman I could love on purpose. Then her phone vibrated. She checked it, and her smile wavered. Mom wants brunch tomorrow, she said. With you? With us. Et with Ed. Claire looked at the bracelet, then at me. She says she wants to apologize. That could have been the start of a new storm. Instead, Claire leaned closer under my arm. Are we going? He asked. She looked at me. Only if you want to. Not as cover. Not as a shield. He kissed her forehead. I'll go because I'm your boyfriend. A smile returned slowly, real and warm. Real boyfriend, she said. The most convenient kind. The best kind, she said, and took my hand. Brunch at Claire's parents' house felt different in daylight. Less like a courtroom, more like a place where people had once loved each other clumsily and were now awkwardly trying to do better. Claire wore the bracelet I had bought her at the market. He noticed it, then became the kind of man who noticed her wrist, her hand in mine, the way her thumb brushed the silver band when she was nervous, the tiny smile she gave me when she caught me looking. Stop staring, she whispered as we climbed the porch steps. I am admiring my illegal jewelry. You are admiring yourself for buying it. I contain multitudes. She laughed, and when her mother opened the door, Claire did not let go of my hand. That mattered too. Mrs. Bennet looked smaller without the armor of a dinner party. No sharp smile. No perfect hostess glow. Just a woman in a cream cardigan holding a mug of coffee in both hands. Sweetheart, she said. Mom. Her gaze moved to me. Thank you for coming. Thank you for inviting me. There was a second where no one knew what to do. Then Megan appeared behind her mother wearing sunglasses indoors and holding a mimosa. Excellent, she said. Emotionally competent people have arrived. Maybe they can teach the rest of you. Claire's father muttered, it's too early for this. It's 11, Megan said. Exactly. The tension broke. We ate quiche and fruit salad at the kitchen table. No Ryan. No performance. Just Claire beside me like a quiet hello. Halfway through breakfast, Mrs. Bennet set down her fork. Claire, she said carefully, I owe you an apology. Claire stilled. He left my hand open on my thigh, not reaching for her unless she wanted it. She did. Her fingers slid into mine beneath the table. Mrs. Bennet looked down, saw it, and softened. I pushed too hard, she said. About Boston. About Ryan. About what I thought your life should look like. Claire's grip tightened. I told myself it was because I wanted you to be happy, her mother continued. But I think, she swallowed. I think I wanted to stop worrying by fitting you into a shape I understood. Claire said nothing. I'm sorry, her mother said. You are not difficult to love. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel that way. Claire looked down. For a moment, Ali heard was the clock on the wall and Megan aggressively sniffling into a napkin. Then Claire said, "Thank you." Her voice was thin but steady. "And for what it's worth, Mrs. Bennet added, glancing at me, I like this shape better." Megan raised her glass to the shape of Owen. Megan, 3 people said at once. He nearly choked on orange juice. Claire pressed against my shoulder, shaking with silent laughter, and I kissed the top of her head because I could. Because she was mine in the only way a person can be yours, by choosing to stay, again and again. After brunch, her father cornered me in the yard. He expected a threatening conversation. Instead, he handed me a rake. "Leaves," he said. "Manuel libre à interrogation?" He looked at me. "You always make comments when you're nervous." Ash's mouth twitched. We raked in silence for 3 minutes before he said, "She looks happy." He looked through the window. Claire was in the kitchen with her mother and Megan, laughing at something. Sunlight caught the bracelet on her wrist. "She makes me happy," I said. "That is not what I asked." "I know." He studied me, then nodded once. "Good answer." Inside, Claire looked out and caught my eye. She smiled as if she knew exactly where my heart had gone and had decided to keep it somewhere safe. He smiled back. A year after that night, we were still living above the bakery. For 6 months, we kept both bedrooms because we were careful and mature, and also because Claire claimed the organization of my closet was a cry for help. Then, one rainy weekend, we rearranged the entire apartment. Our plants moved into my room. My drafting desk moved into hers. Our books mixed on the shelves with no respect for genre or emotional readiness. We turned the spare bedroom into an office, though Claire called it the room where your tiny building models go to feel important. He called it our West Wing. She called me unbearable. Then she kissed me in the doorway, so I filed no complaint. By the next spring, we had rituals. Saturday dates at the market, where we bought cider and pretended not to judge the terrible violinist. Movie nights, where she stole the blanket and I let her, because being right mattered less than feeling her feet tucked beneath my leg. Morning coffee. With far too much oat milk. Mean exactly how she made it before I could ask. And once a month, dinner with her family, where her mother no longer asked about 5-year plans. Megan still introduced me as the fake boyfriend who unionized. Ryan had become a footnote, and Boston had become a word Claire could say without shrinking. For me, I stopped pretending that wanting more was the same as risking everything. One evening in June, almost exactly a year after Claire had invented our relationship over roasted chicken, I came home and found her on the balcony with Fernanda the Fern, 2 glasses of wine, and a suspiciously nervous expression. "Should I be worried?" he asked. "That depends. Are you still spiritually opposed to furniture?" He looked past her. In the corner of our tiny balcony stood a small wooden bench. New. Beautiful. Exactly like one I had once sketched on a napkin and forgotten. "You made this?" he asked. "With help from your dad and 3 online tutorials taught by men afraid of emotions." He ran my hand over the smooth armrest. "Claire." She bit her lip. "I wanted us to have somewhere to sit outside together that wasn't the folding chair that keeps trying to murder your spine." He turned to her. The sun was setting behind the rooftops, turning the bakery windows gold. Her hair moved in the warm breeze. The bracelet still circled her wrist, bright against her skin. "You built us a bench," I said. "I built it." "That is very roommate of you. Good thing I got promoted." Then she took a key from her pocket. "Note a new apartment key. Ours." But on the ring was a tiny metal charm shaped like a house. "Too serious?" she asked quietly. "Only if you want it." My throat tightened. He thought about the night she stood in front of her family and called me her boyfriend before either of us had been brave enough to say we wanted that. He thought about every almost that had carried us here. Then I took the keychain, kissed her palm, and said, Claire Bennett, I became permanent the moment you stole my sweatshirt and blamed emotional cotton. Her eyes filled with tears. You were ridiculous, she whispered. You're my home, I said. She kissed me then, smiling and crying a little, her hand in my hair, my hand at her back. Behind us, the city hummed. Below us, the bakery ovens came alive. Beside us, Fernanda leaned dramatically toward the railing. And on the little bench she had built for us, we sat tangled together until the sky went dark. No more pretending. No more almost. Just two people who accidentally told the truth before they learned how to say it. So what would you do if your roommate invited you to a family dinner and suddenly introduced you as her boyfriend? Have you ever been through something even remotely similar, a fake relationship that turned into something real?